Kathopanishads practice will teach you this understanding, that you are always steady. You are that gold which is there. Ornaments keep coming and going. You remain as gold. You are the space which is steady. Fire happens, rain happens, wind happens, storm happens. Anything happens, the seasons change. The space does not get affected by any of its dhruvam. All other things come and go. Likewise, our nature as Atman is always pure, nitya, shuddha, buddha, mukta, nirmala swarupinam. It is always free, it is always pure. This papa, punya, all these upadhis don't apply to the Atman. It applies to the body-mind complex. But it does not apply to the Atman, is the ultimate truth. This is what you will attain if you practice this Adhyatma Yoga as taught by the Kathopanishad. And what will be the final result? You will escape the jaws of birth and death. Again, don't get into the illusion that it means I will go and merge into something. No, you are that. You will only realize that you are indestructible, that you are unchangeable, that you are ever pure and free. There is nothing new to gain. But to realize this, all this effort. The treasure is there, buried in your backyard. But where your grandfather buried it, you don't know. Now you're digging up the whole backyard. If suppose your grandfather's friend comes and tells, oh, I know where your grandfather had buried, I assisted him, it's right in the eastern corner of your backyard. Immediately dig, find the treasure and become happy, you become rich. You are always rich, but you didn't know where the treasure was buried. Therefore you are poor and you are digging in all wrong places and getting frustrated. If a guru comes and tells you this is where you need to dig, that's where the treasure is hiding. Immediately you dig there, find the treasure, become rich. Can you say that you have become rich only at that moment? You are always rich. The only thing is that you have found the treasure only today. Otherwise you were rich even as you were born. You were born to a very rich grandfather, but grandfather had hidden the wealth somewhere which you didn't know. Now you are suddenly realized and you have become rich. That's all it is. You heard of that story of the 10 fellows who were crossing the river? You heard that 10 fellows of them crossed the river and they count it all wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10th is missing is their problem. And they all are crying. Was the 10th ever missing? Never missing. But he was counting it all wrong. All were there, ajnanis were there. Now what happens? A guru comes and tells them, count like this. And he counts for them and then they also count from the paroksha jnana that guru gives. They practice and that becomes a aparoksha jnana or pratyaksha jnana. What he takes the finger and turns it towards the counter, the person who is counting. And he realized that he is the 10th person. Therefore all this mistake. That is the problem in our life. Due to ajnana we think we are the body and the mind and we suffer in the illusion. Actually there is no suffering because the 10th person never drowned. Therefore, there is no suffering in the world if you think from Brahman's point of view. But ajnana is the reason why we suffer. Ajnana that we are body, mind and not Brahman makes us suffer. Ajnana that because of the body we have these relationships, this belongs to us, that does not belong to us, these are our people, those are not our people, these are my parents, those are somebody else's parents. These limitations arise out of this ajnana. And this ajnana has to go away. That is the whole idea of Upanishads. The moment the jnanodaya happens, everything is seen correctly. No fear, no delusions. And you will become what? This is what you will become. Anadi anantam, nityam, dhruvam, param. This is what you are always. And that is how you come. And nichaya tanmrityu mukhat pramuchati. And this idea of birth and death will not trouble you anymore. Let birth happen, let death happen. I am deathless. I am birthless, because I associate myself with this cosmic consciousness which never is born, is never dying. Yesterday, very beautiful in Ashtavakra Gita, it says, Jnanam, Gyeyam, Tatha, Jnata. These three, Jnana, knowledge, Gyeya, object to be known, and Jnata, the knower of the object. Na asti vastavam. These don't exist in the truth, they say. Look at anything in the world outside. These three exist. Suppose I want to know what is that. That is a clock. Now clock is the object I am the subject, the knower of the clock, and the knowledge is what? This clock is a timepiece which moves, and that is how I know what is the time now. This is the knowledge of that object. These three have to exist in order for you to know the world outside. If these three don't exist, then you cannot know anything of the world. Suppose I exist but no objects exist around me. Knowledge is not there. Suppose object exists, I don't exist, knowledge is not there. Suppose object and I both exist, but the knowledge of the object does not exist. I don't know where I have kept my watch. So I don't know where it is. Or I have never seen a watch in my life, I don't know what it is. So in the physical world, Jagat, all these three are important. But in Adhyatma, all the three become one. Example, you are alive. Who is alive? You. How do you know you are alive? Because you are alive. You are the one who is alive. And who knows that you are alive? You alone know you are alive. Do you need to be told that you are alive right now? Is this knowledge to be acquired by you? Is this you who is the experience of your own liveliness or the life needs to be learnt from outside? You just know it because you are that. You are alive. Therefore you know you are alive. So who is the knower? You. What is to be known? You. And what is the knowledge? You. So all three become one. Like you being alive is not requiring any senses, any other objects, any other instruments of knowledge to know. Like that, knowing that you are Brahman, you are the divine self, does not need any external agent. That's why Ashabdam Asparsham Arupyam, all the senses are not required. Your mind is also not required. Your buddhi is also not required. All it is required is just this belief that you are that. And when will it come? When your mind and buddhi is merged into the Shantatmani. That's why in spirituality, knowing is being, they say. Everywhere else, knowing is different from being. If I know this is a clock, I know I am not this clock. If I know this is a tumbler, I know I am not the tumbler. I don't become the tumbler. But when I know I am God, I become God. Knowing is being. That is why Brahma Veda Brahmaiva Bhavati says the Mundaka Upanishad. When you know Brahman, you become Brahman. How do you know Brahman? We draw Indriya, Indriyarthebhya into Mana, Mana into Buddhi, that is the Jnana Atmani, Jnana Atmani into Mahati Atmani, and Mahati Atmani into Shantatmani. That is when you know you are Brahman. But this process of withdrawing from senses into mind, into Jnana, very difficult process. We are so used to our body. We are so used to thinking that we are just the body and this mind, this face that we have. That is why I said our meditation should not be just 4 o'clock to whatever, 4:45 or 5. Every minute this meditation should go on. What meditation? That I am not this body. This is just an instrument being used by me. When I use my car, I don't become my car. Like that I am using my body. I don't become the body. It is mine, but I am not that. This concept should be there with you, especially when you go and stand in front of the mirror, you see your reflection, then what happens? Immediately you recognize this is me. No, this is not me, this is your body. Suppose your car is parked in the parking lot and if you are passing by and look at the car, what will you say? This is my car. You are not going to say this is me. Like that, when you stand in front of the mirror and see your own image reflecting, what do you say? This is my body. This is not me. I cannot be reflected in the mirror because I am arupam, avyayam, adsparsham, adrushyam. I cannot be captured by the physical elements. This is not me. If somebody comes to you and says, hello, you are so good, you are looking so handsome and beautiful, you mean to say my body? Okay, thank you very much for appreciating. Like you will appreciate my car. A very nice car you have. Appreciate. You don't take the appreciation onto yourself. Similarly, somebody is coming and scolding you. What should you do? They are scolding the car. The car is a bad car, makes too much of noise, doesn't go properly, doesn't have proper brakes, all the time talks, loud horns. Okay, all this is being told for the body and the driver at best, which is the mind behind, not to you. This clarity should emerge. That's why I told one day to our students, whenever you see a person, what actually you are seeing only the person's mind, which is presenting itself in the body. You are not able to see beyond that. person is a good or a bad or a kind or a harsh person, is all the qualities of the mind. Atman has no qualities. So what do we see in the world? We see the other person's mind. And how do we see? We see through our mind. So its whole interaction of this Jagat is mind to mind, that's all. My mind is seeing the other person's mind, or my body is seeing the other person's body. That's all is this Jagat. So first thing is, three confusions are there. First is the Jagat confusion, which is, I am the body watching the another body through the physical eyes. And what I am seeing, my mind is seeing the other person's mind. That's all is this Jagat. But just now you learned that all this is not you. So Jagat is not you. That is the first problem. Next problem is, I am Jiva. Jiva means the divinity is there inside me, divinity is there inside them. And we have our own separate divinities. I am a Jiva, they are also Jiva. And this Jiva is getting transferred from one body to the other at death. This is the second confusion. You are not even a Jiva. You are Parabrahman, the entire complete consciousness which permeates everything. You are not the limited Jiva. So Jagata, Jiva, Ishvara are the three confusions. Jagat is at the level of Indriya and the Mana. Indriya, Mana, Buddhi is the Jagat level. Each person has their own individual likes, dislikes, habits, looks. All this is Indriya, Mana, Buddhi business, which is Jagat, the world. And it is different from different people. The next is Jiva, that I am a spark of divinity, that Jnana Atman is within me. That is the second confusion. This Jnana Atman is not separate from the remaining Jnana Atmanis. But because of this body-mind complex, it looks different. Like the bulbs, they look like different bulbs. But the electricity in them is same electricity. But each bulb thinks this is my piece of electricity, that bulb thinks that is your electricity. So like that each one thinks I am a Jivatma and that one is another Jivatma. That is another big confusion in the. And finally we go to the, as we evolve and merge this Jnana Atman into Mahati, then we call it Ishvara. No, there is one God who is in everyone. One God is in all, that is what we start saying. That is the Ishvara confusion. Beyond that is the actual truth. What? Everything is God as it is. You are God, everything is God. That is what Aham Brahma Sarvam Brahma is. That is what the ultimate idea of Purusha. So the one who has understood the whole sequence of this KATHOPANISHAD mantras, how he has taught us. Indriya, Indriyarthebhya, Mana, Buddhi and Jnana Atmani, Mahati Atmani, Avyakta and then Purusha. That whole sequence who has understood will never face any confusion. Because if you are told you are anything less than that Parama Purusha, you should reject it. You should reject it, that you are no less than that highest. That is alone your truth is. Everything else is your imagination. Will you remember this? Okay. So see, KATHOPANISHAD has two parts. After this chapter gets over, never again the mention of Nachiketa or Yama comes in the second chapter. It's only the explanation of this state of Atman. And you can easily see, because just as in every concluding story, the final verse will be about who told the story and who heard the story, and the ultimate verse will be what is the benefit of listening to the story. This is a typical methodology of all our stories in our Vedanta, Veda, Puranas, everywhere. So penultimate would be who told the story, who heard the story, and ultimate would be what is the benefit of listening to the story, the Falashruti. So those are the next two shlokas which are coming up. 16th shloka. Nachiketam upakhyanam mrityu proktam sanatanam uktva shrutva cha medhavi brahmaloke mahiyate. So it says, this story, with what kind of story? Sanatana story, eternal story. It was valid 10,000 years ago, it is valid today, it will be valid 10,000 years from now also. That kind of story it is. It is not a story which is relevant only to that time and that place and that situation. It is the story of the truth, and truth is all nityam, all ever. Therefore this story is relevant forever. Sanatanam is the quality of this upakhyanam. Upakhyanam means the one which has been like a discourse which has been given. To whom? To Nachiketa. By whom? by Mrityu. So who spoke this Upakhyanam? Mrityu Proktam. The Upakhyanam given to Nachiketa, spoken by Mrityu, whose nature is Sanatana. The nature of this story, the nature of this truth is eternal. What happens? We have heard this story now. Uktva Shrutva Cha Medhavi. Uktva, if it is spoken again by someone, or it is heard by someone. But what kind of person? Medhavi. A person with great, that Sukshma Buddhi, Agraya Buddhi, Sukshma Buddhi. Any person with that Sukshma Buddhi hears it or speaks it to others. What happens to them? Brahmaloke Mahiyate. They attain the Brahmaloka, the highest loka. And what is Brahmaloka? As I said, it is not about going somewhere. As you are, you realize that you are Brahman, and Loka is nothing but what you perceive. Therefore, you perceive Brahman. That becomes your state of mind, that in everything and everyone, you see beyond their bodies and mind, their intellects and their emotions, pierce through even the idea of this Jivatma Buddhi, and you see what? The ultimate existential reality of Parabrahman. Like somebody asks, what are you seeing? One may say, I am seeing the bulb. Somebody says, no, I am seeing the filament in the bulb. Another person will say, no, I am seeing the wire with which the bulb is connected. But Sukshma Buddhi fellow will see what? Electricity. He will say electricity alone is manifesting in that bulb. Electricity alone is manifesting in all these bulbs. In fact, in this mic, in the video screens, in the cameras, everywhere it is electricity and electricity alone. Nothing else. All these are manifestations of that electricity. Likewise, there is Brahman and Brahman alone. He only appears as the Jagat, Bhutakasha. He only appears as the Manas Chittakasha. He only appears as the ultimate awareness consciousness, which is Chidakasha. So this is the ultimate truth they will understand, and their perspective of life will completely change. They will never look at life again with their limited, narrow thinking. Their thinking will broaden. They'll be able to accept all as their own. Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. Everything is Brahman only. The one who thinks like that alone can love everyone and serve everyone. Below that, love, most of them can happen. Serve, most of them can happen. But having to love and serve everyone without exception cannot happen unless you see the oneness of the whole creation. It's not possible. So this is the penultimate shloka where he says, you attain that Brahmaloka, which is not to go anywhere, but that vision, your drishti will change. And because drishti changes, srishti will change. You will see everywhere the same concept, principle of Brahman manifesting through every person. Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara, everything is that Brahman. That is the idea of KATHOPANISHAD. And then last shloka, 17th one for this says, Ya imam paramam guhyam shravayed brahma samsadi prayatah shraddha kaleva tadantyaya kalpate iti. Kalpate iti means it will reach. Ya imam param guhyam, this one, what parama, highest, the best, the ultimate, guhyam, secret. Why is secret? Because somebody was telling me a few days back, in their 7 generations, they never heard the word called Brahman. First time they are hearing something called Brahman exists. So it is such a secret. We are Brahman, yet we don't know that we are Brahman, and we've been living for centuries. That is why it is a kind of a paradox that you are that and you have never heard about that. You never heard that this is your true self. And lives and lifetimes we are living. So, ya imam paramam guhyam, the ultimate secret. What happens? Shravayed, Brahma samsadi, the one who speaks about it, the one who chants it. In what? Brahma samsadi, in the gathering of Brahmins. Brahmins does not mean those who are Janev Brahmins. Brahmins means those who are keen on this knowledge, because if you speak about this knowledge to people who are not keen, they are not going to attain anything out of it. It has to be spoken in the assembly of those who are interested in Brahma Vidya. They are at least jignasus, if nothing else. Without that, if you speak about this knowledge, it is of no use. So you speak about this knowledge. If anybody speaks or makes people hear, what kind of people hear? Those people who are interested in this knowledge. That's why na aputraya, na ashishyaya datavyam. Don't give it to aputras, ashishyaya, or na ashanta manasa. Not even to those who don't have peace of mind. Don't give this knowledge. That is what even Shvetashvatara Upanishad concludes. Vedantam imam parama guhyam purakale prachoditam. This is a very big secret, Vedanta. And it was only talked about in the ancient times when people were interested in this. And also says, na prashantaya datavyam. Don't give it to people who have no peace of mind. And who don't have peace of mind? Who are full of desires. They don't have peace of mind. So don't give it to such desiring people, worldly people. Na aputraya. Don't give it to the people who are not your own children. Not your own children means you don't know what kind of qualities these children have. Your own child, at least you are aware whether he is a good or a bad fellow. Na ashishyaya. Okay, if he is not your child, but if he has come to learn, check thoroughly whether this fellow deserves to know this or not. He is really Brahmanishta, Brahmapara, Brahmanveshanamana. Is he that kind of person? If yes, then accept him as a shishya, and then only you teach this knowledge. So it says, na prashantaya datavyam, na putraya, na ashishyaya punahva. Don't teach it to anybody other than those. So this one, when spoken in the assembly of such people who are keen on knowing Brahman, then what happens? Also, prayatah shraddha kaleva means also after having purified oneself. Shraddha kale means, shraddha can be interpreted in two ways. Anything done with great shraddha is shraddha. Other way is, shraddha is that final rites or the ceremonies that we perform when a person dies. Generally we say 13th day ceremonies are called shraddha ceremonies are there. We perform these. Or we perform shraddha anniversary ceremonies when the people are died, our pitrus are there. For them we perform in the Pitru Masa, this shraddha ceremonies. When we are doing that, either when we are doing it when the person has died and departed and it is the 13th day, when we are doing the final rites, or we are performing shraddha annual basis. If we chant this after having purified ourselves of what? All desires, unwanted thinking and wrong behavior, then what happens? Tad anantyaya kalpate. Anantyaya kalpate. Infinite kalpate is attained. By whom? The one who chants and the one who hears. Who hears? The keen disciples, the keen Brahmanas who hear. They attain that. The one who Shravaya speaks about it attains that. And even those who missed attaining this during the lifetime as a human being, and they have already become Pretas and Pitrus. Even if they hear this, they also have the possibility of attaining the infinite. That's why in Bhagavatam, the story of one goes to hides inside a bamboo. And then he listens to Bhagavatam 7 days. And every day, one bamboo knot opens. And all the 7 knots open and this ghost is released. And he becomes the Punyatma. Likewise, even after your death, they say generally when a body dies, the Jivatma, whatever the individual soul, it hangs around that place for 13 days. That's why one by one rituals are performed to tell that individual, see, whatever you wanted, we are giving you. On 9th day, his favorite food is prepared. On 11th day, some pindadana is done. So all the pitrus are invited and told, we are sending one more to your place. Please accommodate him. Don't send him back again here. Otherwise, we will be in trouble. So they invoke the blessings of the pitrus that please accept one more pitru. He also has not attained moksha, he'll join you now. Like that. And then we do all these things, and 13th day we do all kinds of prayers, and that is the day when it seems Yama finally comes to take the Jivatma in the scheme of Punarjanma. And this thing is hanging around, this Jivatma. They say is hanging at the roof of the building. Cannot leave because it's attached to the body, attached to its people. It doesn't want to leave. Until Yama comes and snatches it forcibly. How? They say he catches their hair and drags them. Puts a pasha and drags them like how we drag a buffalo or a cow. Because they don't want to leave this plane. They don't want to leave their relatives and the house that they built for their children and grandchildren. All the wealth they had accumulated and amassed, thinking they will enjoy it forever. all the relatives and friends whom they want to still have coffees and teas and dinners with, they don't leave. So the Yama has to literally put a pasha and tighten it and drag them out of this place. Otherwise they don't leave because of their attachments. That is the idea of Yama Pasha, that this Jivatma is so attached to the body that it just left, to the relationships that it has created, to all the possessions and the wealth that it has accumulated, and those desires which are still unfulfilled. It doesn't want to leave till Yama has to put one Pasha and drag him forcefully out of this world, this loka, into whatever loka he needs to take them. This is what the idea of Yama Pasha is. Therefore, Yama says, the one who has learned Kathopanishad, understood it, assimilated it, practiced it, and thereby has attained the Shanta Atmani status, that person escapes my Pasha. Because he is not attached. Even in this world he is not attached. Moha Kshaya is moksha. As you are here, you are moksha. That is why very beautifully Vasishtha Ramayana says, Samshantam sarva sankalpaha, when all your desires and thoughts of the mind are done, samshantaha, it becomes completely peaceful. That person, how it is, shila antarivasthitihi, like the inside of a stone, he is absolutely untouched, detached, unaffected by whatever happens. Somebody is dying in the family, is unaffected. Somebody is born, unaffected. You become rich, unaffected. You become poor, unaffected. Behave accordingly, but inside absolutely unaffected. Jadya nidra vinirmuktaha, who is free from this laziness, inertia, means he is active also. And nidra, this sleepy, and we find this shila antariva sthiti, the inside of a stone-like sthiti, when either we are lazily lying like a stone or we are sleeping, deep sleep, then we are a stone. But he says, without being lazy or in deep sleep, the one whose heart is like absolutely peaceful. That person has understood. Saswarupa sthiti smritaha. That is known as your true nature. That is your actual nature, where you are not affected by whatever is happening around you. Like a stone is not affected, and not outside of the stone, inside of the stone. Absolutely dense, intense peace there. Nobody can disturb that peace. When you attain that, not because you're sleeping or you're lazing around, but even when you're active and going about doing your activities of day-to-day life, yet remain totally undisturbed and unaffected, that is your true nature. That is Brahmasthitihi. The one who has attained that even while in the body here, such a person has escaped Yama's Mrityumukha, means the jaws of death he has escaped. Otherwise, everybody else lives in only this fear. When will death come? What will happen to us? Then once we die, what will happen to our children? And what will happen to our relations? And this and that. That worries continue. But the one who has understood Brahman and who has realized, even as in this body, in this loka, at this point in time, they say for that soul a chariot is sent from the heaven. And Vishnu Dutas come, not the Yamadutas. Deva Dutas come and carry him in a chariot to Swarga. This is all imaginations, but the idea is to say that how you meet your end depends on how you have lived your life. If you have lived your life in wisdom, then you will have a very, very peaceful and happy end. If you have lived your life always in the fear and delusion, your death will be equally miserable. That's why I always say, from the way a person has died, you can know how the person has lived. Many people just close their eyes, next morning they are not there. Peacefully they pass away. And some people, 2 years, 3 years in ventilator, injections, they don't go at all because they're so attached to the body, they want to hang around for as long as possible. They don't mind ventilators, they don't mind injections and needles, they don't mind anything. But they don't want to leave the body. So that is the other side of story too. So only those who finally realize that they are Brahman and nothing else, they get released from this bondage, and such people attain the highest even while they are in the body, they are unattached. These people are called as Jivana Muktas. While living in the body also, they are completely unattached to the things, to the people, to the places. They are completely unattached. The same concept comes as Sthita Prajna in second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And they are also the same. Sthita Prajna are those who have a steady mind, steady buddhi. Why? It's not getting disturbed by anything because they have understood the highest truth. And they don't have any other attachments. Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha, Arjuna asks. Samadhis tasya Keshava, Sthita prajna kim prabhasheta, kim asita vrajeta kim. How do these people behave, those who have attained Brahman in this very life? Do they continue to be teachers? Do they continue to be chairpersons? Do they continue to be students? Do they continue to be staff? Or do they give up everything? What is their way? Arjuna is confused. So he asks Krishna. Krishna says nothing different for them. Only attitude is different. Atmanyeva atmana tushta. This is the most important quality of Sthita Prajna. They are happy within themselves. Whatever comes to them, they are happy. Anything you say is going wrong, they don't see it as wrong because they see it's all Brahma Leela. It's all God's divine Leela and they'll go through it without any apprehensions. And something good happens, anta Bhagavad Ichche or Ishwar Prasada. It's all given by God. How does it matter to me? They will never take credit for anything, nor they will take blame for also anything. They're very clear. Because they completely understand I am just an instrument in the hand of God. Beyond that, my role is nothing. It is not my doing. It is He doing, that divine Brahman manifesting through this body. That's all is my truth. As individual, I don't have any truth at all. Is the divine that it operates through me, manifests through me, expresses through me. Therefore, whatever happens in my life is completely under the divine control. And I have no responsibility for anything. They're very clear. So that is the attainment of Brahma Jnana even in the body. And they are very efficient people because they are working from Mahati Atmani, super intelligent, extremely efficient. Their decisions are always balanced and mature. They are never agitated, they won't complain, they don't cry for small things, nor they jump around for small successes. In everything. That is the idea. Dukkheshu anudvigna mana, sukheshu vigatasparaha, vita raga bhaya krodha, sitadhi manuchite. These are the people. In sad times they are not dejected. In happy times they are not excited. And vita raga bhaya krodha, the attachments, fears, anger, all these kind of negativity they have already given up. Sitadhi, their buddhi is always steady because their buddhi is the Mahati Buddhi. It's not the Jnana Atmani, it's Mahati Atmani. So for that sake, they live. Just to allow God to manifest, allow God to express, act through this body, they exist. There is no other purpose for their existence. There is no other reason for their life. So when we come up with ideas to God and say, God, this is what I want to do with my life. I need your blessings for this. What will God do? Laugh. Somebody tell, if you want to make God laugh, tell him all your plans. Then he'll sit and laugh whole day. Look at this fool fellow, he has made his own plans and doing. Okay, I'll end this chapter with one nice story from Ribu Gita. And he is a guru, Ribu. He has so much patience. And he has a disciple called Nidhaga, absolute disaster. This Nidhaga does not want to learn anything from this guru. But Nidhaga's father himself was a great sage. But you know, in those days, this sage will send his disciple son to another house. That fellow will send his son to this house. That's how they used to teach. Because children don't learn under their own parents. Because children also have this feeling, my father knows nothing, my mother knows nothing. Somebody else's father knows more. So that is how this fellow Nidhaga was sent to Ribu. And this Ribu was teaching this Nidhaga. And he taught all the Apara Vidya. Nidhaga was very happy. With this I will have an earning, I will build a house, marry, have children. So he was very happy that far. The moment Ribu started teaching the Para Vidya to this Nidhaga, he ran away. Now this Guru was such compassionate Guru. He said, no, I have to finish my teaching. I have not finished my teaching to this fellow. What will I answer to his father? So this Guru will go, Ribu will go wherever this Nidhaga is. And how will he go? He'll change his costumes and go. Because if he goes as what he is, the Nidhaga will identify him and run away further. So he will dress himself as many different ways and go. So he goes to this Nidhaga one day. He sees the Nidhaga was standing with some firewood in his hand and some grass, which he might be using for his rituals. He was a married man by then, had children and family. So this Guru Ribu covers himself and looks like a village rustic, an illiterate village man. And he goes and stands next to him and says, Sir, can you tell me what is going on? He says, see, there, the king is coming in the procession, therefore I am waiting here. Then this Ribu asks Nidhaga, who is king? Then he says, that one who is on the elephant is the king and the rest are his followers. Then he said, that I understood that those are followers who are not sitting on the elephant. The one who is sitting on the elephant is the king. But which is the elephant and which is the king, he asks. You told me two things, elephant and the king. So which is the elephant and which is the king? Now this Nidhaga gets a little irritated. Doesn't know what is an elephant, what is a king. Anyways, he's an old man, doesn't know maybe. Let me tell. That animal which is there below, that big black thing, that is elephant. And the above that animal is that king. He said, now I understood what is elephant and what is a king. What is above and what is below, he asks. Then this Nidhaga gets totally furious. He tells, let me teach you a lesson, you old man. And he jumps on him and sits on him and tells, see, now you are below like the elephant, I am above like the king. Then he gets off the back and this Ribu says, very well sir, thank you very much for teaching me what is above and below. But you also told you are below and I am above. What is you and I, he asks. Then this Nidhaga understands this is my guru only who has come in this. Because there is no you and I in this universe. There is everything is I only. I alone am. There is nothing else in this other than me. I only as Brahman manifest in all forms and names. The one who realizes this, tatra komoha kashoka ekatvam anupashyataha, says Ishavasya Upanishad. Where is attachment, where is the sorrow for that person who sees only himself in everything, or everything as only one. Sarva bhuteshu chatmanam, sarva bhutani chatmani, tato no vijugupsate. Such a person who sees everybody as him and him in everyone, na vijugupsate, never gets anxious, never hates anyone, never troubles anybody. Always is happy and peaceful. This is the ultimate boon of Brahma Vidya. If you practice this chapter, especially the last one, the meditation, Vang Manasi, that one, that is the secret of Kathopanishad. The rest is all story built around this secret meditation. Main meditation is this. This is the main message out of Kathopanishad. How to take the Indriya, Indriyarthebhya into mana, withdraw mana into your buddhi, buddhi into the higher buddhi, and finally into the highest, gradually. This is the essence of Kathopanishad. So whoever you are, old, young, please sit down and go through those slokas and write your own answers in your own way. Doesn't matter. I just want to ensure that whatever has been taught remains with you.